Okay, Ulysses, we roll along in our 2022 player reviews. We did Randy Rosarena on yesterday's show, and today we will spotlight another standout player for the Rays, and that is Shane McClanahan.
And we've got so much. I've got so many stats for you, Kevin. I'm just going to throw the book at you. You're going to think I'm Brian Kenny. So this is going to be fun. So everybody strap in and let's get started right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your very first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays. And we want your mailbag questions, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Ulysses, I like how you mentioned you're going to throw a bunch of stats at us in regards to the Shane McClanahan player review. It takes me back to my and our USF days. I don't know if you had this guy. Terry Sinchich was my stats professor at USF.
I think I had Diddlefinger or something like that.
Diddlefinger?
Wasn't it Diddlefinger?
Dummeldinger? I don't know.
Dummeldinger. Yes.
Yeah.
Dummeldinger. Yes, that was the guy. Yeah, Diddlefinger, Dummeldinger. All right.
Diddlefinger's in prison right now. He's serving a life sentence.
Yeah, probably.
No, but Sinchich, he was clutch because he would record his lectures, and you could go back and watch them and listen to them at your leisure. And if you couldn't show up for class, or you just needed, hey, that didn't make sense the first time or the second time, I need another lesson there. So he was awesome with that. All right.
Isn't it awesome when you get to college and then they start treating you like an adult and you're like, oh, this is a nice change of pace. I like that.
It was also nice to, hey, I've got one class today or two classes today, and I've got the free rest of the morning, afternoon, and evening to myself. I don't have to sit in a room for 8 to 10 hours a day. That was really refreshing.
That was the life.
Yeah. All right. Shane McClanahan, who also went to USF, crossed paths briefly. And I would say he is definitely more successful than both of us, at least financially speaking and athletically speaking as well, particularly with what he did in 2022.
And boy, did he do a lot in 2022. For those of you that don't have his numbers in front of you, I do. So I will recite them. 166 in a third innings pitched, a 2.79 ERA, the 194 strikeouts, almost was so close to 200 strikeouts. He was just so close. Without the IL stint, he definitely gets there. A 5.8 walk rate, a 30.3 K rate, a very shiny 0.93 whip, a 3.5 F4, a 3.00 FIP, a 142 ERA plus, a left on base, the strand rate percentage of 80.5%. Squeaky clean. And do you like whiffs? Well, he's got whiffs for you. He's in the 94th percentile. You like chasing? Well, he likes people chase after his pitches. That was awful. 80th percentile. Okay, so he was just doing everything, basically. Almost everything. So much better than 2021, and just so right. Of course, he was the all-star starter for the American League, which was, of course, very impressive. It was very tough finding something not to like about Shane McClanahan, because everything that I've just read, and I'm sure that you have other stats too, that are very, very shiny.
What does Shane McClanahan have in common with Justin Verlander, Dylan Cease, Alek Manoah, Shohei Ohtani, Framber Valdez, Shane Bieber, Martin Perez, and Tristan McKenzie?
That they will all get Cy Young votes.
Yes, possibly, but also all these starting pitchers in the American League had ERAs sub 3. So very, very impressive feat in that regard. And let's not forget the amazing, amazing historic first half
Boy.
that McClanahan had. He had a major's best 1.71 ERA and 147 strikeouts in 110 and 2/3 innings over 18 starts. That earned him, of course, the All-Star start. And if you look at his Savant page, like you mentioned, the chase rate and so forth, I mean, it's just a stream of red, and that's a good thing, folks. And if you also look at his Savant page, what stands out, and you should know this after watching Shane McClanahan, is the fastball, the changeup, the curve, the slider, the ability to mix pitches and have confidence and effectiveness in throwing each and every single one of those pitches. And that helped allow him to up his K rate, lower his walk rate, and something that really, really improved from last year to this year is not allowing the hard contact consistently. That was a big thing for him from last year to this year.
Yeah, and I want to stop by your first point, which is the repertoire. I love the slashing down of the slider usage. If you're a Locked On Race listener and you remember us saying this at the beginning of the season, I think after the first or second start, I was red in the face. I was like, why does he want to become a 2-pitch pitcher when he has a changeup and a curveball to play with it? And I begged Shane on that episode. I think we compared him to Chris Archer. Like, stop playing with the slider and the fastball. Stop. You have a curveball. You have a changeup. Use them for the love of all that you claim that is holy, Shane McClanahan. And he did. He listened to the episode, I'm sure, and he started to do that, because when you look at the 2021 slider usage to 2022, it went down from 34% to 16%. Now, I love that because it allows more space for the curveball and the changeup to be a part of his repertoire and not become so predictable like I think he was in those first couple of starts. So I love the fact that he kind of changed the seeding, the ranking of his pitchers, of his pitches, because that four seam is at 36%, the changeup is at 25%, the curveball is at 23%, and then the slider is at 15%. So you can see how he basically took half of that slider away and then just gave it up for the changeup and the curveball. And I think that really, really helped him this year.
Quick question. And that was a great summary there of the pitcher. I mentioned those other names, those other starters who had outstanding seasons. Over the next 5+ years, which of those pitchers accumulates the most WAR? And let's either take Ohtani out of the equation or just focus on Ohtani's pitching stats. So over the next 5+ years, who collects, who's really the most successful, you would say, at this point?
Tristan McKenzie is somebody that you're going to hear a lot about. I mean, that kid. So obviously I would want Shane to be number one on that. That would be good things for the race. But Tristan McKenzie, I think, would be a very interesting name. I don't immediately buy on tremendous one seasons. I didn't buy Robbie Ray last year. I'm not going to buy Dylan Ceases this year. Like, he has to do it again. And again, maybe it's because I'm too stubborn or have high standards. But I would still, to this day, I would not call Shane McClanahan an ace. Because we've had this discussion. There are 4 aces in a pack of cards. Can you tell me that there are 4 aces in all of MLB and that Shane McClanahan is one of them? Let's be real. Let's be real. So no, I would put Tristan McKenzie there just because he's an up and young coming guy, and I really the 2 starts against the Rays that I was able to see, tremendous stuff.
Interestingly, Tristan McKenzie had the highest ERA of this group, but he might have some of the most long-term potential. And I think, if you're a Rays fan and you're, Rays home or whatever it is, I don't think you'd be totally off base and wanting to put Shane McClanahan in that conversation. Like, although, Shane Bieber's only 27 years old, which is just amazing to think about. But,
you know who you also mentioned? Alek Manoah. We've gotten to see a lot of Alek Manoah, and
here's my issue with Alek Manoah. I don't know if he doesn't have a good body. I'm just going to say that. So I don't know how well that sticks up and holds up over the next 5+ years. Like
fair enough.
He is amazing. And I know it's a pitcher, so it's a little bit different, but and like he's fun to watch in his own right. It has some a nasty repertoire, but if he looks like he does right now, unless he absolutely gets on a nutrition spike and health spike, I think that could cause problems for him in the future. But I just wanted to bring that up. So we're not going to have a lot of negatives to say about Shane McClanahan, I don't think. But before we do that, before we dive into what went wrong with Shane over the course of the 2022 season, Ulises, we have to tell the audience out there about something called Rhone.
Yes, we do. Because sometimes perhaps you open your closet and you're like, I'm tired of all of these things. I need new shirts. Well, I've got something that just might be the thing that you're looking for, and that is called a commuter shirt, which can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. You got to go to Rhone.com/lockedon, and you're going to use promo code LOCKEDON, and you're going to save 20% off your entire order. This commuter shirt is comfortable. It allows you to have mobility without any type of constraint. Okay, it's versatility too. It's versatile, so you can go from work to maybe a date night, a happy hour with friends. Maybe we'll catch a game if you're watching the World Series somewhere. The commuter shirt is there for you. So again, I will say it again. Go to Rhone.com. That's RHONE.com/lockedon, and don't forget to use the promo code Locked On, which will give you 20% off your entire order. It's time to find your corner office comfort today.
As far as what went wrong with Shane McClanahan, I'm not going to get too scientific about all this, but his second half clearly wasn't as strong as his first half, as he went 2-5 with a 4.20 ERA, 47 strikeouts, and 55 2/3 innings over the course of 10 starts. And then he had that injured list stint for a left shoulder impingement, which turned out to not be as bad as I thought, and maybe others out there thought it would be. And then he also exited a game due to a neck spasm. So, and it's really impossible to replicate what you did in the first half in the second half, but some nagging injuries, if you will, and just losing a head of steam over the second half, and not the best all-star showing as well.
Yeah, that all of those are fair points. I think the losing steam is definitely something that it's going to happen with young pitchers. I don't think this would be a good question. I don't think he's ever touched 166 in a third. And honestly, if you add spring training, plus if you add the playoff start of 6 innings or 7 innings, actually, I think. I mean, how many times has he touched those innings?
Yeah. What I'd be curious about too, and we can't really go back and explain this, or we're just speculating here, but if Shane McClanahan, didn't make that all-star start, and quite frankly, if he didn't have to deal with the travel and the ceremony and the festivities of, he never got a break like so many other, like the majority of major league ball players. He never got that 3-4 day stretch, however long it is, of, okay, I can kind of reset myself and focus myself. It was you had the amplification of the All-Star game and being named the starter to having to pick up in the regular season where you left off, and the expectations like that. I would like to know, or like to ask him how that, hey, did it affect you at all that you never really got a breather?
You know what? Who we always kind of speak badly about when it comes to the All-Star game? we always talk in this podcast. When I say we, is us too, and I think there are some people out there too that say this, but why do the veterans that have been into the All-Star game like 4 or 5 times always go like, no, I'm hurt,
Yeah.
or oh no, I can't make it, or whatever? Well, maybe because there's something to it, Kev, that you need the space, you need the time off. You can just, if you've been there, done that in the All-Star, like, oh, yeah, sure, give me the All-Star nomination. I ain't going. I have my pinky toe hurts.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not showing up. Maybe there's something to that. Of course, now I do think
it's almost like a blessing and a curse of, oh yeah, it's great I got nominated for my 5th All-Star game, but I know it's also time I won't be able to relax and spend time with my family and recharge the batteries.
Exactly. And obviously, as a young starting pitcher who is being talked as the Cy Young frontrunner, you're not going to miss that. And why would you? So maybe there. I don't think it's more of a, oh man, that inning that he pitched really is the consequence of all of his bad second half. But it's the mental part of it. It's the mental stress. It's the heavy weight that's always on your mind. It's not the 25 pitches that he threw. It was the endless interviews, the spotlight, the having to be on all the time, like that takes a toll off. I'm sure that he enjoyed it and all that, but maybe there is something to it. But I looked at the numbers, man, and I wanted to find something that we could grab onto that to say, this didn't work.
Yeah.
And I think I found it, Kevin.
Okay.
I found it, and maybe people that love his slider are just going to be in shambles right now, but the slider did not work. And I will say why. He allowed 5 home runs on the slider this year. He only allowed 3 on it last year. Opponents batted 267 this year against the slider. Last year, 198. This year, batters had a slugging of 456 against that slider. Last year, 299. So my issue with this, it's knowing that he cut the usage of the slider in more than half of last year's. I mean, again, last year it was at 34%. This year was at 16%. So he cut it down by more than half, and yet everything went worse for the slider. They had more contact. They had more pop. They had more extra base hits on it. The slider did not have good results for Shane McClanahan in 2022. And I think if he has quote unquote homework to do during the offseason is check out why. Why was this happening? Is it all mislocation? Is it a bat slider put in a bat count, for example, opening with a slider, or not really playing off anything else? I know it's a nasty 93-mile-an-hour slider, but there's something going on with the usage of that pitch that hitters were very happy when he threw the slider.
Alternatively, because he decreased his slider usage so much, maybe he didn't have the feel or the confidence or the comfortability factor like he does with his other pitches. So maybe that begs the question, should he scrap that pitch altogether and just focus on, I'm going to make these 3 other pitches the best 3 I can. And if you need to maybe try to tinker with a 4th, okay. But I think he's gotten to the point where he can get away with just having those 3 elite pitches, or try to make those 3 pitches elite, as opposed to trying to tinker with the slider and throw that when it's the weakest link, if you will. And if you're not practicing it or working with it regularly, it's going to become even worse and worse.
I like that the reasoning there, but look at the numbers from last year. It's not like the slider was always been bad and so he's just scratch it. But like last year, they were hitting 198 off it. Terrific. They were slugging 299 off it. Terrific. Only 3 home runs in like 120 innings pitched, and then this time that almost doubled. So maybe the using it of it less. He doesn't have the same kind of grip or the same comfortability with the pitch, but that doesn't mean that he can't gain it back.
Right.
So before he scratches it off and just goes, I'm a 3-pitch pitcher, I would really hope that the homework for Shane this offseason is study why the slider didn't work. Why was it getting hit so hard? If I had the time, I would go look at every slider pitch that he threw.
Right.
I don't have that time. But if you're out there and you're watching, you're subscribing on YouTube, maybe you do have the time and you can go on Baseball Savant and check out the sliders that he got knocked around with.
All right. And actually, the Rays probably have some sort of technological mechanism where they can look up every single slider like within 5-10 minutes.
Must be nice.
If we could have that. We do know some people in the front office, so if you could email that to us, lockedonrays@gmail.com, that would be much appreciated. All right, Shane McClanahan's future with the team. I'm going to strongly assume and suggest that he will be on the Rays in 2023. Now, I haven't heard because we've heard the reports about Randy being possibly Super 2 eligible. And I know that there's some mechanism with Shane McClanahan, depending on where he finishes in the, I guess, the Cy Young voting on, he could get a nice little bonus in addition to his pre-arb salary.
Yeah, and the All-Star nomination too. That also got him a little bit of that newly player pool money, which is just designated for pre-arb guys.
Which is it's about time that baseball made a smart move and a smart decision there. Like, reward guys for being so productive so early in their careers. I guess the only qualm I have with what they did is I think the money should probably be upped or increased to some extent.
Yeah, I don't know how much he'll get for the All-Star, and I don't know how much he'll get for the Cy Young finish. I'm guessing he'll finish probably like 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
But that should still give him some good moolah. But yeah, definitely a Ray for the next couple seasons. I don't see him. We've had this discussion before. I do not see him as a guy who's going to go team-friendly deal. I really don't. I feel like he's more in the David Price DNA of like, I'll wait, and then I'm going to get paid like the best pitcher in baseball because that's what I want. That's what his personality screams at me through the screen. And that's all we have. So that's my view of him. I don't know if you disagree.
He was playing hardball with the Rays after they drafted him, and it's not like he was the second coming of Brendan McKay either. And, he had the Tommy John surgery and had some other things go on. So, he wants to take care of himself and his family, obviously, which, we're not going to scoff at. So I guess that begs the question, are you under the impression that he's not going to sign a contract extension with the Rays this offseason or by spring training?
He will never sign a contract with the Rays. I just don't see it. Do you think that he would sign a team-friendly deal?
Oh, man. No, I mean, what constitutes team-friendly?
Sure. A Blake Snell 5-year $50, something like that.
Oh, man. With as many pitching injuries that have gone about, I don't know. It's so tough because you bring up a strong argument, but how long does he want to have to wait to really cash in too?
He would become a free agent for the start of the 2028 season. So after the 2027 season, that's a long time.
I would say if tomorrow they rolled out $50 million and added some other incentives and maybe the possibility of an opt-out or something, that's a lot of qualifiers there, but $50 million. Let me put
5
it
year
like this.
50.
5 year 50.
He's not won a Cy Young. Blake Snell won a Cy Young, and he said yes to
Shane,
that.
you should take that deal. If they throw that is $50 million guaranteed, you should take that money.
Always take the money. Always take them. You don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, and you're going to break your arm. You're going to get in a car crash. You don't know what's going to happen. Take the money.
Yeah. You sprain.
Eric Kinsky said it to Longo. Longo said it to KK. KK said it to Archer. Archer probably said it to Wander. Take the money.
Tear your ACL playing pickup basketball with friends. Like, that stuff happens, and it can happen, and it does happen. So that's something to focus on, of course. But a couple quick hitters here regarding Shane McClanahan. I mean, we know he's going to be on the team, but just looking at 2023 in a nutshell, will he be the opening day starter for the Rays? Yes or no?
Yes, he will. Just the Rays award the opening day starter for the season that just passed, and we saw that in 2010 with Shields not being named opening day starter in 2011. They gave it to David Price, and then after that 2011 season, they didn't give it to Price in 2012. They gave it to James Shields opening day because of Shields' 2011 season. So they're going to put Shane's on opening day for sure.
Will he make 30 starts in 2023? At least 30 starts in 2023.
I want him to. I don't think so. People get hurt. So I'm going to say no, he doesn't.
Follow up to that, and I guess, maybe your answer could still be yes for this. Will he pitch at least 175 innings in 2023?
That's a good question. How many games started did he have this season?
He had 28. I recall
28 and 166 innings. 28 and 166.
28 and 166 and a third.
Right. So no, if I already said that he's not going to make 30, he's not going to pass 170. No.
And then finally, before we get to his grade, and I think we kind of have an idea.
By the way, before that, I want to hear your answer. Do you think he's going to get 30 starts or more?
No, I'm nose across the board there. Although he will enter the season as the teammates. Lastly, though, among Rays starting pitchers, will he have the lowest ERA in 2023?
Good question. I'm gonna say 279 is real shiny. If he fixes the slider, whatever happened with that slider, he's got a real good chance. But man, Ras was fantastic. Springs was even better, maybe. Glass now, the return of Ty Glass. I don't know. I would
competition.
I would take the field over just picking one guy out of all of them, really.
I would agree with you. Yeah, and I think that some of it is not unfair, but if Shane McClanahan, you could probably say, he might pitch the most innings among Rays starters in 2023. That would be expected, but you could have Jeffrey Springs, who's only asked to throw 110, 115, and he winds up with a lower ERA. Or a guy,
exactly.
We've seen this before. Tyler Glass now gets hurt, 80 innings, and he had, I guess I could have added some qualifiers to that too, but just generally, I would probably take the field with that one. All right, player grade for Shane McClanahan for the 2022 season.
It was tough finding a negative. The negatives was he got tired. The negatives were underwhelming all-star appearance, and the slider results for this year. I think that's the biggest thing I found. If you find something else and you're watching this on YouTube and you're subscribing, leave it on the comments. What you think was the biggest negative of Shane McClanahan's 2022 season? I, for one, think everything was really shiny, basically almost everything. And I, for one, will give him an A+ of 96.
Okay. I will also give him, what? Is 96 an A+?
No, it's not. I think, yeah. So an A. Okay. No A+. An A of 96.
Okay, I'll give him A+. I'll give him that extra bump of 97.
Okay.
What's so interesting, I'm just looking at these stats here. This just underscores the rarity and the amazement of Shohei Ohtani. He pitched as many innings as Shane McClanahan. Okay, he had 0.1 of an inning fewer, but his ERA was several notches lower than Shane McClanahan. And what else does Shohei Ohtani do? He also, is basically a silver slugger from the plate too. So
he should be the MVP of this year, but writers are just too cowardly against New York, so they won't.
Yeah,
do it.
that's so ridiculous. Like, how do you? I mean, if Shohei puts
the
up
home
these
run
numbers,
record, the home runs. Okay, fine.
No,
All right.
if that's if Shohei, and this is why I don't want this, but it's where like Shohei, he needs to play in like a market like Boston or New York, because then he'd get the MVPs that he would be deserved.
He gets the if he were to play in a big market, yes, he would get the respect that he deserves, 100%. So come to Tampa.
Yeah,
come to Tampa. Oh, Shohei, why not?
Yeah,
we'll do it. Yeah.
If Shohei played on the Yankees this season and put up those numbers, I mean, don't you have to give it to him compared to Aaron Judge? Like,
they would 100% give it to him. They would. Even Judge would be like, yeah, but I'm not doing what he does. Anyway, he's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what would happen.
All right, that's our player review of Shane McClanahan. We will be interspersing these player reviews throughout the course of the offseason as news breaks with the Rays. We've had some interesting storylines that we haven't really gotten to yet. Matt Crociaro, one of them, for example. And we also have the mailbag episodes and so much more too. In the meantime, thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your very first listen every day. Now make your second listen, the Locked On Today podcast, that is also free and available on all platforms. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you next week. Or no, Thursday. Oh my.
A quick aside, people.
Yeah.
We will be back on Thursday. So we'll see you tomorrow, guys.